Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome here to round 6 of the Realistic Performance League Le Mans Ultimate Series here. We've already capped off through what has been a very fantastic first half of the season, and the celebrations continue through as we head on to the month of October. As such, starts the second half of the championship. We're going to continue over here at the legendary Circuit de la Sarthe here at Le Mans, France, to kick us through and mark the conclusion here of the European leg of the series before continuing on through to Interlagos, Sebring, then over through to Fuji and making our great grand venture back to the Middle East in Bahrain in November. To recap through what has happened previously, Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps hosted through round 5. Was not recorded back then, apologies for that for the viewers, but Phil Bailey took another win, added through to his books, and did indeed beat Jay DePuget by a couple of tenths as he made for his debut with Joshua Makahi, makes his first podium as well. So made a Peugeot 1-3 as it stands. Tian Barrett made it along with Jay DePuget's 2 and 4 for Porsche, and then following through George Williams moved for the Peugeot to the Ferrari through to 5th with Polish guy through on 6th, Joe McLaughlin through on 7th with Will Mancy finishing through a lap down, and Cameron Fields complete tour through that top 9 that finished. And McGillor was the only one that did not actually complete the race as that stands. So it was a 10-car field from that aspect, and indeed it has shaped off a lot of things in the process. We're going to kick it off very quickly with a 20-minute qualified session, as often per usual, that we get here through Le Mans. So we will go swiftly on through to the thing. If there will be a bit of technical issues, then I will apologize over from my side, but I will keep you on through and going as the race goes on. So here we are, a very warm welcome back here to the series, and my, what a series it certainly has been thus far with the different race winners that we have for on our hands. And again, the previous man that won here for last time in Cameron and Josh Hughes back over at Portimao, and then over at round 2 and round 1 didn't make for the cut. So as a result, we have a different race winner apart from Josh Hughes that has won those 3 races. Phil Bailey has now managed to win 2, so it's been cutthroat duel between both Phil and Josh as it stands. We will bring on through to the standings, I think, very soon, also momentarily. Of course, Hughes still holds on through to the lead, 93 points clear. Phil Bailey thinks that win added to his repertoire. It's now 68 points, which is just 2 shy of Barrett, who still holds on through to second by his mere fingertips, followed by Alt Williams in 4th, 49th. 49 points added to him, and he'll be 5 points clear of Alex Norris in the BMW. I don't think he is here today. Still looking to replicate for that success that he's had, and it's only the top 5 that has that balance added to it. So Phil will come in with 12 kilograms higher than before. That's one of the BMWs. I think that might be a bit of Navarro with the codes, but I digress. Also, as it stands as well, outside of those 2 that we've had, Joshua Makahi is the highest point scorer to not have a ballast added to him. So again, that will be his first point to his name. 33 points, 11 shy from Norris, followed by DePuget. That scored his first race podium as well last time round in 7th. Cameron Fields, a frequent uprunner, but just never seems to replicate very well, through over to 8th with Joe McLaughlin in 9th, and Anna McGillor Toyota through that one in the top 10, followed by Cryptic over 11th, and Will Woodmansey in the 12th. Those are the only point scores that we have as it stands for the drivers. For the constructors, meanwhile, it's the team of Josh and Cam, with Josh contributing quite a bit much, and Cam about 10 points or so, holds on through to the lead, 109 points, 21 different between Jay DePuget and Tion Barrett. They're currently the best of the rest now, through on second. 4 points just adrift of Phil and Joe McLaughlin in that Peugeot. And then afterwards of that, we've got Joshua Makahi on 4th, with Accent Matoki in 5th. Matoki still having Matoki Young, I think, still needs to make for his debut yet. Axorist sole contributor for that. George, his switch over through to the Ferrari, garnered them 18 points last time for a round, with Will now being the sole Aston Martin for instance. Also holds on through to 8th, with Aspec and Kai in the Porsche in 9th, in 8th, and then following that we have Luke and Ella McGillor, over in 9th place. So indeed, that'll be through the rundown as it stands. We're running board now with Karen Fields, the current not the fastest driver, but definitely one of the ones to watch, especially during these qualifying runs. Always been a notoriously fast driver through here, as he's going to get through one of the fastest ones up for the board. The fastest one, in fact. 32.3 we're seeing from Cameron. That's going to be interesting to see what can happen through here. So we will keep through an eye on that. I will continue through to watch for the stream as per usual. So all those that are watching here, do feel free to drop by a message and say hello. Indeed. So that will also be quite phenomenal indeed. So yes, absolutely. Now we're going to see very shortly through what Cameron can do. He's still going over through to the Mulsanne Straight. Very, very long indeed. And that just ends very shortly with the Mulsanne corner. The furthest point over on the entire track. A near 90-degree right-hander has cut people off, especially through that gravel trap as we've seen during pre-season testing here at the Realistic Performance League. So it's a bit of some of these drivers will indeed have figured out that as well beforehand. Cameron through that second section now, which has mainly just been straights. 81-2. We'll see Georgia Williams and Danger Puget just only managing faster. Tion Barrett actually did it 88, so that's mightily impressive. You can also imagine with this track being longer than all the others that we have raced previously beforehand, that it's one where qualifying really matters the most. And well, it's about twice the size, twice the length of one of the longer tracks that we have here, especially like in Spa-Francorchamps, for instance. And as a result, you don't really get to put many laps in, so it's going to really matter the most to these drivers, because they effectively have to treat this 20-minute qualifying session effectively as 10 minutes, given that double length for the track, but still going to be the regular 70 minutes. So again, bit for the longer distances and shorter laps through that time span as we see. Through Danger Puget sets through the fastest lap as it stands, 3:26.2. Williams at 3:27.5, and Joe McLaughlin at 3:32, and Cameron goes across the line, and he will be about 5 off. So to Puget, very phenomenal for him. Phil manages to go across the line 1.1 seconds away from Puget's time, but 5/10 off. TL Barrett manages to split between Cameron and Phil to get himself up into third, makes it through a Porsche 1-3 as it stands. A brief yellow flag somewhere. We're going to see where that might be. I think that was just maybe a bit for the pit entry. And Amir Giller running through that special Toyota LeMans livery. Exit out through that corner he'll go. So expected to be 11 cars thus through here today. Polish guy, I think, still yet to really, make his television debut for here. The yellow flag, that is Will. He's going very slow. In fact, he's actually stopped onto the pit exit. So that's a massive struggle for him. And we're going to see through more. There's Barrett. 32.6 on that first sector. 1/10 off clear, but it is going to be a personal best as it stands. Bit of a wiggle out through that second chicane on the straight. You're going to be very, very careful to just pinpoint it and plant it as best as you can. What can we see from Barrett here to maybe follow along for his teammate, but more importantly, see if he can do anything to catch up through the fields. Of course, that straight is going to be hugely beneficial for Slipstream, so there's a chance that maybe pole position is going to be able to see who can get the best sort of Slipstream out from that straight. Of course, it's also going to be the fundamental essence of many battles as well we're going to see. I think that does also make qualifying a bit all that more important. You can see for the Sparks lifting up in that Porsche as is going to approach over through to the second sector. That's going to be a fastest second sector, 4/10 faster than Depucet's fastest one, so 8:41. So he's net 3/10 quicker than his teammate, and this is going to be a good chance to put Porsche through up in the lap. Half of the qualifying has already been underway, as we have seen. Still 8 drivers that have set their lap times. Navarro, Young, McGillor still yet to set theirs. Matoki, I think, makes his RPL LeMans Ultimate debut since back in the preseason testing, I think. So we will see how they'll set. McGillor in that Toyota 33.7, followed by an 83.3. But Matoki seems to be doing a bit better. 32.6, that's up in the likes of one of the faster ones as well. Can't really see to muster for the second sector. An 81.39. I do want to correct myself though. I'm thinking Depucet had the fastest time, and Barrett was only about 1/10 off. Doesn't. I think it's more like 3/10 off as it stands. Because I think Fields might be improving. Maybe. We'll see. Here we go. The final few chicanes is what's going to separate Barrett, and a really, really good chance to excel that Porsche up through. Is it going to be an improvement for Barrett? Goes through across the line. And so 3:26. Oh wow, that's a very slow third sector from Tion. And what looked to be really, really promising has kind of fallen, well, not flat on its face, but not quite exactly what he had hoped for. Matoki, meanwhile, nearly through best of the rest, splits George and Josh out together. Enya goes through across the line as well, and Teal set through to 9th. Navarro through behind. He's going to go through that first sector. He's now switching over to the Alpine now. One of the last time we've seen him before Spa. So it's interesting how he's going to be able to muster this new machinery. Depucet is still looking to go through, getting up Williams on that Ferrari, trying to do his best as through as he can. Phil sticking over through to the Peugeot. That was Young that we've seen before on that BMW that I think I've confused with Navarro, hitting through the cones. And Will with that screaming V10 still V12 still holds on through to the top 10 now as he's going to go up for his out lap. Barrett is I think going to go in through with his in lap now. There is Matoki down from behind still for the Busan straight. 7 minutes for left to go. And he was real proper guesses to see what can happen here. The second Mulsanne corner he'll go. 35 off. About 2 seconds off, so kind of a dud. We won't really see him improve. I think we might see Barrett as well. Barrett's maybe trying, but he's got the pit window for up open. So it's a possibility that it being slow, he's maybe entering through. I think we're seeing Cameron has gone through his outlap, but disconnection or latency issues. Not sure on whose end. Someone's end, indeed. So that's indeed possible. What here from Dave Depucet though, as he's still in his outlap, he's going to go through to the Dunlop corners. George is still 2/10 off. Navarro still has yet to set a representative lap time onto the board, but he's entered that through that second sector, 81.175. It's green all around, so that's a good sign. Looking to be net 1.3 seconds off. So maybe you could see a fight along the lines of Wakahi and Young, maybe, perhaps. It's completely possible. Through the Porsche curves he goes, and he spins round and hits, and that will be his rear right wheel knocked off. And Jordan Navarro, I'm not sure if he has enough time to make another qualifying run. He might be able to do so if he pushes it, but I don't think it's possible for Jordan, and seems to be the driver that won't set through a lap time. Here we go, Jay to Puget again, fastest once again, 3,000ths quicker. Up further ahead, that's Phil. He's gone quicker. 32.51, and Puget's done a 32.54. So he might be able to see a last minute attempt from Phil to get a chance to get pole position away. It is completely possible. You can see in the background, that is Puget. So we'll see between these two how this is going to pan out. And here we go. See now here with Phil Bailey. You can see the top speed that is reaching nearly 320 kilometers before breaking real deep, 90 kilometers. A brief yellow flag somewhere. I'm not sure who that might be. Still on with Phil. 81.9, but don't think that seems to be quite enough here. Still got time though. If he can just do something, it might be a bit enough, but even so, kind of have to wonder what this Peugeot driver can follow on through after securing his second race win of the season, and a chance to maybe equalise here when Hughes is not around. That is indeed has been the case as well. All the races that whenever Hughes is not here, Phil always seems to catch up for it with the race win. Could be a chance that we're looking here first time that may not be the case. Two minutes 35 left to go. Out through the final few quarters now. He's 1 second off, so if there's anywhere to improve it anywhere, now would be a good chance. Another yellow flag somewhere. He'll go for the line. And it's a 28, no improvements there from him. Puget goes through across the line. Is it an improvement for himself? It is an improvement, 25.5. And that puts him 1.2 seconds clear of Cameron Fields. And even his teammate, maybe not able to replicate. Looking over through, Matuki Young. Again, places herself up through the 6th. Good chance to maybe improve a little bit more. 81.3, the second sector. 32.6. Don't think these are improvements enough to get up to Alp Williams, but the third sector can make all the difference as he goes for the line. And he still remains over in 6th. And still 2/10 off shy of George Alp Williams. I think we've had someone in the chat saying my idol. Well, that might be. 60 seconds left through. Phil still's got one more chance if he ever so wishes. Although with the time ticking down, coming down to 50 seconds left to go. It's gonna be hard. 43, 42, 41, and 40 seconds. Kentucky Young now if we're into the pits now. That'll be qualified over and done with, and Jay Puget has got Porsche a pole position here. And fairly by comfortable margins as well. 1.256 seconds off of Cameron Fields. But Fields is not going to be able to be comfortable to pick up from where Hughes left off, as you have to worry about two Porsches in that fight in the 90 minutes. Phil can't really seem to pull it through together onto the second sector with 32.6, 7, and 31.3. Don't think he'll be able to do it here. I think we're waiting for contents. Mentoki Young is she. Thank you very much, Matty. 929. I will keep on mind. I will keep in mind for that. And thank you. I think I must have misgendered her previously back in the pre-season testing. So massive apologies to her for that. Yep. So qualifying is over and done with. 250 kilometers and more. Phil goes through the final few corners. He is going to finish that lap. It is a personal best all around. Is it enough to bolster himself? Maybe up into P3. Goes for across the line. No, and he'll still stay through on fourth. And a good smoke for good measure. Wow, what a qualifying that was. And as a result, here is your results here for qualifying. Good performance from Deja Puget, 1.2 seconds clear to take his first pole, one of his another pole position through to his books. Cameron Fields for behind is going to be another front row start for himself, with Tion Barthur in third, Phil Bailey in fourth, and Georgia Williams fifth. And Matoki Young in sixth for her, followed by Joshua McCahey in seventh, Anna McGillor in eighth, Joe McLaughlin ninth, Will Woodmansey in 10th, with the only other driver in Navarro not making it through to his qualifying run for today. Wait for the cars to line up through onto the grid. Got for 90 minutes left or so to go. I think might be seeing Matthew Bassett maybe coming here, but I'm not honestly entirely sure. Navarro is going to be started, but since he hasn't set for his lap time, means that he's going to start all the way through at the back on the grid. So that is indeed also a measure through to take through on that. Alright, so Puget has got a very good chance here to get his first race win. Similar as well for Cameron Fields as well, but also down behind you got to think about Barrett as well. That has been always on the cups of always at the podium, but has never managed to claim himself a race winner. And Phil Bailey seems to really benefit a lot from these sort of situations. Looking over for now to the starting order of today's race. Through the first row, it's Deja Puget that holds on through to the Porsche, with Cameron Fields and the Toyota locking out through the front row again, another time in his career, with Tion Barrett, a Porsche 1-3 with Phil Bailey down from behind, two-time race winner, looking into third to match Josh Hughes here today. Georgia Williams through to fifth, with Matuki Young for her in sixth. That will be Ferrari and BMW sharing for row 3, followed by row 4, Joshua McCahey in seventh, with Anna McGillor. A very good place there for Toyota in eighth. followed by for row 5, Joe McLaughlin in the sole Aston Martin with Will Mancy over into 10th, and then followed by for that in 11th, it will be Jordan Navarro that completes through the starting order of today's race. So lots of opportunities through here today. Not often a time that you see a race that you can maybe dismiss or so. It's going to be interesting here because a lot of drivers here are going to be fighting for race wins for vastly different reasons. And you'd love to see here as race fans. Kicking us through to that round 6. And of course, a quick mention through to what is going on through to the rest of the races through as the final ones go through to Interlagos, Sebring, then over to the Asian continent through to Fuji, and then going back where we started, Qatar, which is a few hundred kilometers away. Bahrain in the Sakir will host through the final race. The anticipation builds in as the 11 cars gently wait for that green flag to drop. Continue on through to that pace. Circuit de la Saf will host through the longest track on the calendar. And with the 70 minutes up ahead, it's a daunting task to be called yourself a race here at Le Mans. And only very few will have the skills through to do it. We're going to see who can become the race winner here at Le Mans. They're waiting for the green flag to drop through the start-finish line. The flag drops and we're underway here for round 6 of RPL. Pretty good start there for Pujic. Cameron Fields will still have to follow from behind. Phil Bailey's got a dream starting to push himself up for the 3rd, but there's a chance that Barrett will be able to follow on through, but he isn't going to be able to do so. Down for turn 1 that they all go, and Fields tries to look around for the outside, but can't. Has to come through and just stay behind to Pujic to avoid being exposed to Phil Bailey. Bailey, meanwhile, still holding on through to Pujic. We've seen overtakes already in the span of just a few laps already. And it's interesting here, Navarro has already managed to make up 2 positions in the span of those series of corners. But Tucky Young still up for the 6th, George up Williams through 5th, Barrett still to the 3rd, that's someone going wide, that is McGiller out wide, and that's a lot from Akahi to reclaim back on the 7th, as well for Navarro to also gain another position through the Mulsanne straight, and it's going to be absolutely pandemonium here, up for a head, it's going to be going side by side between Fields and Bailey, I think, no, Phil Bailey and Barrett meanwhile, and look at this, lay on the brakes, and it's going to be really close, Phil Bailey able to bid for this, Cameron Fields goes wide, and we'll have to take for evasive action and rejoins. And we'll lose through a lot of positions through in the process. Phil Bailey has got himself up in a second after starting from 4th, and it's a dream start for him. Meanwhile, down further back, Young has got a chance to get herself up into P4, and she'll be able to do so with the slipstream in benefit of Phil Bailey. Phil Bailey still under pressure on Barrett, and Jordan Williams cuts on through back now, heading over through the second of the Mulsanne chicanes. It's going to be super close. See Cameron Fields down behind, trying to play for the pressure, not able to do so. Still holds it through the 6th, but Dougie Young still through on 5th. We'll loss out to George Williams up through the 4th, and Tion Barrett meanwhile playing for the pressure onto Phil Bailey to maybe making it back up into P2 to make a Porsche 1-2. Going to be able to do it for the Mulsanne corner. We'll have to see here. He does still able to cut him off, and what a fantastic move that is as they all go through. Oh goodness me, that's Cameron Fields gone wide, and he's out onto the gravel. The man that was starting in the front row has had a disaster class of a start. And it's not at all a good start. I think that might be a bit of trouble. We're seeing overtake from behind. That would be collision. Lots of contact. Who was that? That was Matuki Young. Unfortunate for her. She started very well for up into 5th for the start of the race. 6th, and it's ended in tears for her on her RPL debut here. And yeah, it's terribly sad for her, and it will pose through our first retirement up for the day. Cameron Fields still struggling through. We've already missed one driver. There's still 10 drivers left over for to go. And look at that move. Fields makes up onto Joe McLaughlin to get himself up through the 8th. Still, it's way, way far back. Back through all behind though. Navarro has had a magnificent, magnificent start. All the way from 11th up through to P5. Carefully making those beautiful overtakes. And able to push through now as it stands. That is McGiller off track and will ricochet back onto the racing surface. But that might have caused a lot of damage through to that Toyota. And you can see now here through the timing screens. Again, Young, the only soul DNF that we have that's here. It's going to make it through all the more interesting. But we're going to see up through ahead. This is going to be exit out through that magnificent corner, heading over through to the first sector. Barrett 33.3, Phil 33.4, but it's that slipstream that's a allow for the Peugeot to have such an advantage here through today. And you're able to use it, gonna make the move down through that first chicane. Is there anything that Barrett can possibly do? Maybe able to cut him off. He might be able to do so. A bit of a cone going wide. And will take over for the racing action. This is going to allow for George to benefit from this. And look at this, going to be going through free wide almost through that Mulsanne straight. And it's going to be side by side between Phil and George. And Barrett is able to benefit from this behind as he's going to look through onto Williams and will be able to do so. Heading over now through the second chicane. Phil needs to be late on the brakes if he wants to deny Barrett, and he does so. Cuts him off, and that will be P3 for Phil. Effectively finds himself where he was fighting through previously. Already a terrific start. We will look through to the replay on what happened to Young's retirement very soon. Tension still draws up for a head between Phil, Barrett, and George. Both of them still on in through fairly comfortably. And you can see there between Phil and Tian, it's about Tian 3/10 off before heading over through down to Indianapolis. Phil, a very good entry over through to the corner and a pretty good exit means that he'll be able to catch up through to George, and with that exit as well, able to benefit from that slipstream as well. And there we go, similar speeds that we're seeing. Another brief yellow flag. We'll have a look where that is. Is it McGiller's gone? Will's gone off. That is Will. That seems on approach through to Indianapolis, I believe. And a massive struggle. He's managed to get car back up. And will indeed recover, but 12 seconds off. And yeah, as well, still trying to look for to recover. Phil keeping for the pressure now on to George. It's going to be a magnificent battle we're going to see here between these two. Both each other know each other so well. The chicanes through upcoming now. What will Phil do? Can Phil do anything here? Barrett also down from behind. Also seen Navarro and Fields. Fields kill continues to catch up through to the field. Pun intended. And here we go, down through Dunlop corner and the Dunlop chicane. Late for on the brakes. They all seem to go in fine. Barrett goes just a tiny bit wide. Bit for his liking. And there is Navarro. Still holding on through for Fields. Get a good start from Navarro from what we've witnessed during qualifying. It's the struggles that he's had. But he's managed it to go on through. Fields onto the grass. That could be signs that he is struggling quite a lot. Not sure if it's allowed. Any particular benefit for up ahead? Phil still on through. 5.5 for about 4 seconds or so. The first chicane that they all go. Oh, and Phil goes too deep and allows for Barrett to maybe capitalize here. A really poor exit. And that will allow to go side by side, but Phil will have that slipstream from George to just accelerate just a little bit more. And Barrett hiking in through to the outside line. He has to do that. He wants to try and maximize the amount of speed he possibly can through the second chicane. And he will be able to do so. Phil trying to use for the slipstream, but it's not going to be enough. That overtake happened far, far too soon. We go out on exit. Again, 70 minutes. 10 minutes have already passed. That means we've got about 60 minutes over left to go. And we're going to see through the rest in terms of how things will indeed develop. Barrett done everything he possibly can to get up into third. But he may want to follow through his teammate into Puget. But Puget has been consistently running away with it right now. And it has been indeed been a dream for Puget. I think Barrett wants the same, but it's really, really hard whenever you have George, Phil up along those lines. Will Woodman say up into the pits. McGill are also into the pits now. See it here with Fields still for applying the pressure onto Navarro. Nothing really much is quite happening here. Over for the Porsche curves they go. Pass through the LeMans curling circuit. Off to the right! And that will beat Navarro going wide through that corner. But not too much. So it's not hugely of a benefit. One chicane now, and then through the next chicane. They will all go. And George will still lead, followed by Barrett and Phil with this battle for P2. And following through behind is still Fields just ahead of Mulcahy. But meanwhile, here comes Fields, making it now down for the inside onto the Porsche curve. And Navarro too far away. Not much he could do to benefit. They'll promote the Toyota up into the top 5. Alp Williams still under pressure from Barrett. Barrett's hoping to try and put this over to bed for the time being. Up into P2, he possibly can. Has to avoid for the threat on Phil down through behind. Out through one corner now they all go. And we'll use through the slipstream. And that's a very good exit, actually, from Tion. And that's going to allow him to be side by George. Phil down from behind, able to benefit from this all, depending on which side is going to go. But both of their lines are going to be compromised. And Phil's decided to look over through to the outside line, heading down for turn 1. George is going to do the same, trying to use as much as the to Barrett as he possibly can. Early on the brakes, George is. And that will probably allow him to facilitate a better exit. Will it? Maybe. I think it might be a huge, huge maybe. And indeed, still on through to the top. To the top for these three still are. A bit of a weave from Barrett. Not a weave, but a change in direction. Switching over through to the outside line. Again, holding on through to the racer line is probably the best thing that you can do. Rather than to hog on to the inside line and compromise for your exit. Defending at LeMans is not only notoriously difficult, but also sometimes a bit easy. A little bit of common sense is what usually prevails here at the Circuit de la Sarthe. He's a 14-kilometer circuit, twice the size of our previous race back over at Spa-Francorchamps. And you can see Phil lay on the brakes over for the 90-degree Mulside corner. Not too much onto the gravel. That's going to be side by side between Navarro and Fields. We will catch up through on these two as they will continue out through once again. 0.6 seconds off separating between these two. And in through the Indianapolis now. Phil trying to do anything he possibly can. He won't be able to do so. Navarro goes off. Navarro goes off. And that is coming through Indianapolis. Not enough steering for him. And it's sad, sad news for the driver of the Alpine. Of course, being a home manufacturer. And Will LeMans has gotten a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And he's going to cut through and eat a bit of gravel before heading on through. Takes it a little bit easy. And Navarro out of through hits the DHL. I think that will unfortunately be our... No, it's not. Okay. He's still going, which is good. He's struggling a lot, though. I want to see... so it's just trying to plug it in through correctly. Oh, who's that going off? I think that was Joe, might have been, I'm not sure. Anyways, back up through George and Phil. Now for that charge, Barrett has done his overtake that he needs to do. But Phil wants to do his 1.5 seconds, so Barrett through that first sector escaped from the dirty air of the Ferrari 499P. And Phil is looking to try and do the same. Out through the corner. And it'll be going side by side between Phil and George. They're going to scream through the Mulsanne Straight at more than 300 kilometers an hour, heading for the first chicane. Down from behind, you can see Cameron Fields hoping to try and break up through into the podium still. But here we go. The first chicane. And Phil has managed to make the overtake and done it perfectly. He gets himself up into P3. And I think we're reaching through that point now where we can now look over through to the replays of the race. Unless if could see a response here from George. And we're looking down from behind. That is McLaughlin as well, weaving a bit. Phil still holds on through. That is Will, sorry, my bad. Will is the one that's weaving just a bit. Up for a head. Can we see George making the move onto Phil down through the Mulsanne corner? Any move at all to be made? My goodness me! That might be... That's Barrett! Barrett has gone off for the gravel! And this is going to be in the battle for P2. And it's... he had such a dream getaway from this crowd. And now he's just gone right back in. Holds on through to P4 at least for the time being. But it's dreadful news for Barrett and good news for Williams and Bailey. So that means that they've both been promoted up into P2. And for Indianapolis, that they go. Bailey has made the overtake on the Ferrari that he needs to do. A bit of a twitch on the exit though. And again on the gravel. Barrett goes. I think he might be struggling a bit too much. The 90-degree left-hander, he's in serious trouble. He's requested a pit stop. He must have gotten damage from that gravel. And Phil out from Indianapolis seems to have the advantage here. Looking over if he can just pull away a little bit for the time being away from George. Then he's got himself up into P2. 13 seconds clear of DePuchet though. DePuchet still leads fairly comfortably. But this battle for P2 is absolutely intense here. Oh my goodness me. Exits on throughout. Down from behind, there's Barrett. Out for the gravel. And yeah, he's really struggling. Looking to rejoin at least on track. He will do so. And there's the pit entry that he's been dying for. Cuts over for the gravel. And in he'll go. George and Phil Still in that battle. It's still 7/10 off away from one another. There we go. It's 1 second away between each other. Barrett again onto the pits, and a bit of a heartbreak indeed for someone that has always been continuously on the podium. Might be ended up empty-handed through here. Another retirement in Enya as well means that we've gotten 3 retirements in the span of 20 minutes. We'll have a look for the replay as we can. And we'll look for her first. I want to have a look first at Cameron. This is coming through Indianapolis. Very, very late on the brakes. And yeah, off he goes. Well, I think that really started off was here. Down for turn 1. Was that a bit of a punt we saw from Barrett, I wonder? I just want to be sure. This is him from Phil. And you can see Cameron is the car in between there and the leader of the Puget. So Slipstream is incredibly effective here. That was a punt. That might have been the contact that pushed him off a bit wide. We will look over through to not turn 1. It was here somewhere. He's already lost a lot of positions because of that. And then overcooks it. Gone way through on track. And he'll rejoin. Meanwhile, we saw Navarro, Young, my bad. Matoki Young got punted as well. That might have been... It wasn't Cameron. I just wonder who that was. That's Navarro. So late on the brakes. Would not have made the corner if it wasn't for that contact. So I think that might have... Did that... Ah, okay. Okay. I see what's happened here. Yeah. Okay. Navarro. Yeah. Alright, so if we round more of Navarro now, Cameron Fields goes off. So we know that. He's late on the brakes. The rear wing is gone. And whenever it's very hard to drive without a rear wing. And that contact, yeah, for that apex, you need as much downforce as you possibly can. And she did not have that. She did not have that. Yeah, so it does indeed make a lot of sense here upon looking for the replay, apart from that collision. So we'll see what more the stewards have to say. And that was a very hefty impact from Young to pose on through to the first one. I think there might have been more we did indeed wanted to see. Navarro, upon for his replay, as we're going to look very shortly. Crashes indeed for Indianapolis. And that might have been a bit too much of an overdone? Yeah, might have been. And Enya, meanwhile, he was already running for a lap down. Is it a disconnection we're seeing? It is a disconnection. And yeah, Enya was very, very heartbroken through that. We will look over through to Cameron Fields in a moment, as he's now applying through the pressure onto Phil. Actually, is there a driver penalty? So that will be for speed in the pit lane. Or maybe it's a track limits infraction, actually. He's not been into the pits yet. So that's also possible indeed. Out for the move. He'll go. And look at this move side by side through the Dunlop curve. Is George going to put his car through there to block him off? He will do so. And that allowed him a barrier between Cameron and the apex through turn 3. Benefits George, and he'll get himself up through to third. Phil comfortably holding up through the second, 10 seconds away from DePuget. Mulcahy still through on 5th though, good thing for him. McLaughlin is going to make a scheduled pit stop for him with Barrett falling through behind. Still struggling in that car. Over in 7th, Will LeMans in 8th, and that will be it for the runners. So, oh my goodness me, McLaughlin goes off, and a bit of a donuts through to rejoin back. A little bit of smoke. Indeed. Of course, thank you to all 2 viewers here for tuning through here today. Puget still through to lead, followed by the Phil of the Bailey, with Alp Williams under immense pressure now from Cameron. It's been eyeing a podium. I think Cameron has never actually got through a podium thus far. And indeed, I am right. So it could be a momentous occasion for him. Alp Williams, I think also hasn't gotten a podium since back in race 1. Back then there was only 3 retirements. DePuget not made his debut here. He made DePuget actually did attend for the first race, but did not make it very far, and then made his return back after a long race absence in 2nd. So Phil and Jay looking to change positions here. George goes wise out for Indianapolis. It allows for Cameron to benefit, maybe going over through to the next corner for Indianapolis. A 90-degree right-hander. And still George is not able to budge just yet off from Cameron yet. Here we go, out through the Porsche curves they go. Approaching through the end of the lap. Bit wide from George. Cameron able to benefit from a bit. Go using for the slipstream now. Looking over through to the Ford chicane. Oh my goodness me. And he's going to be very, very late for on it. But it's a great move from Fields to earn himself P3. What a move. Fantastic, fantastic move, I must say. See Joe McLaughlin go on through to the pits. George is going to try to do the same thing that he's done before, and he's gone a bit too much, and that has allowed to take Cameron off track with him. And they both go off track. He'll give the position back, and he will do so. I'm pretty sure. Okay. That was weird. That was very, very weird. Thought that might have been giving the position back. Out for the Milson straight next. Scary corner. They both succeed. Joshua McCahey gonna benefit hugely, hugely from this. Allowed the battle to come right back, and George just has to suffer through another 3-car battle. This time it's going to be for P3 rather than P2 than he was previously. Back with Phil himself and Barrett. And that is Alp Williams. His engine is smoking. And Fields will cut him off. He goes a bit too much. Able to rejoin through. Not sure if the smoking is going to be at all worrisome for the Welshman. But here we go. He's going to make the move through once again. They're going to be going side by side for heading through the second Mulsanne chicane. But George has got a little bit higher top speed. He is smoking quite a bit, but I'm not quite sure. Is Cameron going to be able to fill in through? No, he's not. He's not going to go side by side. Going to stick behind George to get for the better exit. Now his engine is still smoking. That is still very worrying. 40 minutes left to go. Still to play for here. And a lot of smoke indeed producing from that Ferrari engine. Might be for a bit of a worry. Nearly flat out through. George placed his car perfectly. That camera can't really make an overtake through on at work. Joshua but through behind, still 7/10 off. Doing everything he possibly can to catch up through to this field here. Lot of smoke actually. It is actually going to be pretty worrying for Cameron if it may fail. Out for Indianapolis they all go. Again, lot better exit. Lot better exit than George's done. Now from the exit of Indianapolis, and it will still be holding on to third for George, fourth for Cameron Fields, and Joshua McCahey in fifth. Of course, Cameron and George, my goodness me, that's going to be a bit off of the racing line. George is, I think he's feeling a bit of the pressure from Cameron through behind, breathing into his neck. Oh, and actually Cameron goes wide. He's feeling the pressure from Joshua behind. Through the final series of corners they all go. And it will still be 3, 4, 5 right there as it stands. DePucci still throws onto the lead, 14 seconds clear of Phil Bailey in third, and then following on through behind. It's now George Godfrey across the line, holds on through the third with Cameron Fields in fourth, and Joshua McCahey down through behind in fifth. Outside of that, Tian Barrett is up in the sixth, with Will LeMans in seventh, and Joe McLaughlin in eighth. Looking at slipstream benefiting from Cameron Fields now. It's going to go side by side with George Williams, but the overspeed is enough to carry him through up into the lead, I'm pretty sure. Down through turn one, they'll go. And look at this. George looking to do something, but can't do it quite yet. He'll have to wait very, very shortly. That engine is extremely worrying. Extremely, extremely worrying. There is that through to keep in mind. Again, that smoke is rising from that Ferrari engine, and that's a bit of a worrisome to George, as he's now got Joshua McCarthy down behind to worry about. Second Mulsanne corner, they'll go. Second Mulsanne chicane, they'll go. Still looking on through it with Cameron, as he's again got his place pretty well and is now pushing away from George. George now has got Joshua behind to worry about. Oh, and into the pits, George will go. Doing pretty well thus far. And that will be also someone threw up on ahead. That would be DePuget, the race leader. So they're all making through scheduled stops now, with 30 minutes left to go, roughly around through the halfway point. Strategy is quite key here. I think a good balance is probably, in my opinion, probably the best way to do it. Phil Fur holds on to the lead with Cameron in second, Joshua third, DePuget and Nat Williams have made through their scheduled stops, as well as Will, I believe. But he pitted quite early. Looking on through to the energy remaining over on your left-hand side. Bailey for 11% with Fields on 18%. Head of Makahi also on 11 to Puget. We'll get that percentage updated through very shortly. Barrett also made through a scheduled stop along with Woodman C as well, and McLaughlin. So everyone bar Makahi, Fields and Bailey have all made through their scheduled stops now. To Puget for exits out. 33 minutes left to go. We're going to wait for the stats to update very, very soon. Enya. Enna. And enable. Enna. 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 Enya. Enya? Is that it? Enya. And Milor. Enya Milor. No, Enya. Enya Milor. Milor? Milor. Ina. Ina. Ina Millilore. 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 Alright. Thank you very much. Thanks for that. Apologies if I also pronounced your name wrong, but yeah. Inya was just giving me a crash course on how to pronounce their name. Love the Osu tag, by the way. 10 out of 10. Yep, Depuchet stills on through ahead of Up Williams. We're seeing another scheduled pit stop in the form of Phil Bailey. That was previously the race leader now at the time. Cameron Fields exits out through the final two corners. That means that he'll be able to take the race lead provisional. Phil exits out through. Josh is going to follow on suit. Ooh. And into the pits that Peugeot will go. Bit of a first slide, but I'll be fine. Okay, exits out for the pits. Bailey also exits from the pits. And he's jumped to Puget. Puget not really having the lap that he was looking for. Puget will for exit out at least. And Puget and Bailey have swapped positions. So Bailey is the new race leader provisional as it stands. Pitting later seems to have really worked in Phil's favor. Guess it makes sense. It's a lot harder to get your tires through up to speed. How drastic is it, I wonder? 12 seconds. The other direction. So Phil put his strategy down to a T, it seems. And despite being about nearly a second slower than Jay has got about 30 minutes to put on laps around 5/10 quicker. So it's going to be hard. 3 minutes and... So it's a 3 minute a lap. 3 minutes and a half a lap. So, yeah, it's going to be really, really difficult to see what can be done here. We've got approximately about 10 laps, well, less than 10 laps or so to go, I reckon, through this race. With 10 laps, so, yeah, about 8 laps left. So, can Puget in 8 laps manage to gain 11 seconds? That'll mean he'll need to gain, compared to Phil, more than a second a lap. And I don't know about you, but I feel that's going to be a pretty hard ask in Puget's hands. Not at all undoable, don't get me wrong. But it is something indeed to think about. George still languishing off in 4th. But again, if Phil pitting late has meant that he's done this out. Okay, this is just going to become a grammar lesson now for me, so this is just going to become a grammar lesson. So I've learned Matoki Young is a she. I've learned how to pronounce Ina. Alright, Enya Minole. And now I know how to pronounce Deput. So, thank you everyone. Apologies that I've been pronouncing your names wrong for the past half a season of the Le Mans Ultimate Series. But, you know the saying, better late than never. Cameron will enter into the pit, so that's where we're going to X out with Phil. Deput. Good bloody lord. Deput is still on through the third. Phil's exited out for the final 2 corners. I think he's just going to jump Jay here. Cameron. And he will be able to do so. But is Pit Lane able... I don't think he's able to jump anyone, I don't think. I could be wrong. Jay is going out for the final 3 corners. Oh my goodness me. Too much on the sausage curb. Way too much. And that has completely unsettled the car. Exit out through the pits. And that will allow for Jay to jump Cameron. And he gets himself up to second. But again, look at that gap. It's 2.5 seconds between Cameron and Jay. Cameron has indeed jumped George. And there's Joshua down from behind as well. Of course, thank you all to all the viewers for us tuning in through today. And again, to think about the implications for these standings. Phil will jump Barrett by quite a comfortable margin. Of course, Phil running in a bit of that bast as well. Jay's not actually running anything. Same with Cameron, which makes Phil's race win here going to be all the more sweeter for himself. George also doing pretty well despite the 8 kilograms of bast added to himself. And Josh, the way it stands, I think will inch ever so closer through to the top 5 as well with this top 5 results off from George. Well, not quite entirely sure yet. In regards to manufacturers, I think Peugeot would still lead the. Peugeot will take the lead in the Manufacturers Cup, followed by. I would reckon it would be Toyota, and then following through with Porsche, then to BMW, and then Aston Martin, and then Ferrari, and then Aston Martin. So, indeed. Very short end of the race, 3 to go. Again, thanks to everyone for all your help here for today. Of course, this race, this circuit just recently hosted the GP Explorer 3 Twitch. Twitch Formula 4 race. So that was indeed quite fun to see. And indeed, maybe it's just a sign of things to come, maybe for the future. So, indeed, indeed. Bleh. Let's see how much more we'll have for to go. 22 minutes left and 44 to go. The virtual energy has indeed been here for quite a while, so we'll look over through. First of all, the series of compounds that they'll all use, I would probably reckon they will be mediums. Mediums it will be. Positions gains are lost, it will be a good indicator of positions through gate and positions lost if you aren't able to tell. So Phil, biggest skated through them here with 3, followed by Depuja and Fields, both lost 1 through their respective positions. Mulcahy up Williams, both 1 and 2 respectively. Barrett down from 3 after that. Messed up with Woodmansey up through to 3, followed by McLaughlin 1. Again, McGill or Navarro Young, still the only retirements that we have thus far. We haven't seen any retirements actually through the second half of the race, so that is indeed also quite good. The number of stops as well. We'll make sure that everyone has remained for the scheduled stops. Bailey to put Fields up, Williams, Mulcahy, Barrett, Woodmansey, McLaughlin, and all have made through their scheduled pit stops. Milore has made a pit stop, but tired. Navarro Young did not make it through their pit stops, but they have retired due to damage before they could have even done so. And finally, for gap to next. So the cars have been split up very, very comfortably. Phil still throws off route to the lead for the time being. Jay on through to second, Cameron in third, George up Williams fourth, Joshua Mulcahy fifth, Barrett sixth, following through the laps down, seventh through Woodmansey, and McLaughlin in eighth. The gap between Phil and DePut is climbing a little bit, so we will continue on through to that. But until then, let's ride aboard with DePut. Alright, I'll just leave through that one. I'll just get a quick glass of water. I'll be quickly be right back. Phil Bailey. Phil Bailey is the one that's holding on for to lead. Joshua Mulcahy as well. He's the driver also in fifth now. So Phil Bailey, Joshua Mulcahy. Sunset has started to fall here in LeMans. Apologies for that, everyone. We'll say now head over through to Indianapolis. They'll go. And DePut Again, very, very good climb up for ahead to garner what could be his first race win. Really, really close to the barriers. The Dutchman goes. And a good strategy call by Phil. Could end because he's currently been outpaced throughout this by DePut. And DePut will have something a bit to benefit from here. Through the Porsche curves they all go. And it's allowed the gap to claw back a little bit. Through the final few series of corners they'll go. Out the final corner. And it's going to kickstart what is 16 minutes left through to go here. Bailey, again holding on for his lead. Field still third, Al Williams fourth, Mulcahy fifth, Tim Barrett sixth, Woodmansey still seventh, and McLaughlin in eighth. Position still the same as it stands, I'm pretty sure. And just about a quarter of an hour left to go here as night settles in here at the Circuit de la Sarthe. A chance where those laps really start to get nest to muscle memory. The very low visibility means that you can't really see much through. The apex up ahead, another yellow flag somewhere. Who could that be? Ooh, that's Barrett going slow. And that will be on through to the Porsche curves. Woodmansey goes in through to the pits. He's going to make a second pit stop now. And that's a lot of suspension damage from Barrett. And that car is going sideways. It's ended in utter tears for him. And attention for up ahead now. DePut and Bailey now using for the deception. Now this is going to be for the race lead. Oh, look at this. He's going to swing it off for the outside, heading forward for the most corner. Is he going to be able to cut Phil off? He will be able to do so. And Jay Ray takes the lead here with only 14 minutes left to go. And it's going to do it in pretty good fashion. And a fantastic, fantastic overtake to cultivate what has been a phenomenal and Phil flashes a little bit out from the background. Barrett will go in through to the box, so we will have a look for the replay to see what has happened to him. Oh, he's already got twitchy way off here. Oh boy, that is a hit. That is such a massive hit. But he seemed to have already been struggling a bit. This is over for the Porsche curves. Very close over to the wall. He's already super swiggly. And then off he goes. I just want to know if there was anything a bit before that. Yeah, and yeah, that's a lot of damage. I want to know, did it lose his rear wing? It actually did not, so that's fine. And indeed, he's now going to go get that for that repaired. Phil again lost his lead, and at least he still holds on through to seconds as it stands. A good strategy call, at least from him. Keep through that pressure, and it has indeed helped him comfortably on to second place. Through with 1.13 seconds indeed clear from Cameron Fields from behind, and again through between Fields and up Williams it's 22 seconds. George is looking to try and change that. He is going to try and challenge it, so that's going to be interesting. It's going to exit out through the start-finish straight. I think still ahead of Joe, maybe. There he is, exiting out through that final corner. That car is indeed effectively repaired. Go a lot through the speed. Joe's going to go through, swings on past and through full throttle. And Bart will have that overtake through to do. So we're going to be able to see these two. One of the closest battles on track for P6. Josh is still looking to try and break it to the top four by overtaking George. It's been so close. But that pit stop, that paved in way to George's favourite means that Joshua may have to do it through again. There you go. Through that second Mulsanne chicane they go. Bart with that repair means that he is behind Joe McLaughlin. Joe McLaughlin has a fairy tale of a chance to put that Peugeot up into 6th. Of course, Will LeMans for his struggles gets Aston Martin their first top 8 result, I believe. So that is indeed very good. Actually, no, I am speaking a load of rubbish. Will has finished previously back in the top 8, so it's going to be the second consecutive top 8 from them, I believe. Unless if things were to go abhorrently horrible here. Out from the slipstream now. Or for the stretch. And that slipstream is now going to be able to pave the way to his favour. You can just see it now, just about 4/10 off now. Oh, look at that move. That was going to be a pretty good move for Barrett if he's able to do so, but no, McLaughlin fends him off. And actually, he was going to look for the switchback and make the move. And a fantastic display allows for Barrett to maybe get himself up for the 6th, but he's not overdone yet. There's still a couple of series of corners left to go to really cement it now. Is it possible? No. He's just going to stick on down from behind. Going to be very careful through the Porsche curves. Keep applying pressure to the Porsche as much as he possibly can. Joe, I think, might know this. He's feeling the pressure a little bit already. A little bit offline. Through that racing line. Oh, Barrett sees it open. He's able to take it. Is he able to take it now? Going to go side by side. 8 over through the final 2 chicanes now. It's going to be later on the brakes now. And what a dive bomb that was from Barrett. And that will allow himself to really cement the situation that he could be 6th. And is it going to be especially 6th? It is going to be 6th. Right across the line. Brilliant move. Look at this, down up ahead, we can see another action between Phil and Jay, maybe. It was only 2/10 off, so that was a bit of a timing issue. So, apologies for that, viewers. 7 minutes through, and a half left to go. And that gap is indeed climbing. Phil is losing a lot back, or no, it's just a bit of a latency issue. It's still about 5 seconds off clear. But meanwhile, Jay DePutt still done very, very well to hold on through to that lead for the time being. And Cameron from behind is going to march his way to his first podium in RPL. Long, long overdue, especially what we have seen from the Kiwi driver. Having always consistently been a front row starter, just magically somehow had bad luck or was in bad situations. And this seemed to be almost no exception. But luck seems to favour his way this time. And with 6.5 minutes left to go, it's turning his way in his favour. Out Williams down through behind is almost looked away to break into the podium for the first time since race 1, but that will have to come to wait. And the day that he awaits Ferrari's first podium is probably the day they're going to rejoice and cheer. And behind there, Peugeot of Joshua McCahey, again not quite replicating through the success he had previously had back over at Belgium, when he could have gotten a P3. Barrett, just very, very fortunate for Barrett. That has been a podium runner for a get-go, but that offset has just pushed a huge amount of unbalance now. Kai's applying the pressure though to George a little bit. 2.5 seconds with 5 minutes left to go and a half. Just 2 more laps, I reckon. Gap has closed down a bit more as well. It's now gone down to 2.2 seconds now. Under 5 minutes now left to go. Another lap is what we're going to expect, maybe. Maybe. DePutt has stormed down through the Mulsanne straight. Can look over through behind. There is Phil. 7 seconds off clear. 14 seconds off away from the car through behind. Out Williams from behind. And there is Joshua. So that's the battle for that position that we were talking about. Josh is not going to be able to benefit from the slipstream though. He's too far away for now. Oop. And he'll still hold it on through. Looking out behind. There we go. Cameron through third still. George has managed to pull that gap a little bit more. 3 seconds off clear from Joshua in the dying stage of the race is exactly what he needs to cement P4 for Ferrari. Is there any more left that can be done here? Is that all that there might be is to give? It's very, very hard to be able to tell, but we will be able to find out. 2 minutes over for left to go. to put exits through start finish line, and it guarantees one final lap here at Circuit de la Sarthe. Clear over for Phil Bailey in second, and for the final corner, Cameron Fields is going to start for his final lap in that P3 position. Alp Williams, for the way it stands, still in a gasp of 3 seconds between himself and Joshua Makahi. 4th and 5th as it stands for these two. The white flag indeed drops. Barrett, lap down. Same with Joe, same with Will. Joe's actually thought that was a bit, him going slow, but he is actually not. Still racing for now. It's too far away. Mulcahy has got nothing he can do to catch up through to George. And that's pretty unfortunate there. For the straight now, into the first Mulsanne chicane, and then exit out now, approaching over through to the other one. I mean, it's been honestly a very, very strong drive from the pit. I think even when the strategy was not looking quite in his favour, and all that seemed unlikely, he managed to effectively be about 1 or 2 seconds quicker than Phil today. And this has been remarkably one of the greatest RPL Le Mans Ultimate Series drives that we've had so far. And we're already into race 6. And yet there hasn't been anyone that has quite dominated like Jay has here today. It really seems to be a specialty. And it will allow for Porsche in their glory years in the early 2010s in their battle with Audi or late 2010s to really cement themselves. They haven't really come close ever since Team Yost has pulled out, but following through to the Porsche curves in his Porsche hypercar. He's just got the final few corners and the final few chicanes Jay has to do. A fantastic drive for him. 1.2 seconds clear in qualifying. Absolutely untouchable through the race, through the final chicanes that they go. It's going to be a dream for the pit. And Jay exits after the final corner. He's going to be the 3rd different race winner here at RPL. He wins here at Circuit de la Sarthe. What a phenomenal drive, I must say, from him. Phil Bailey records another podium in his career and will continue on through that streak as well. He's continued on for that momentum since the last time out at circuits at Spa-Francorchamps. Cameron Fields records his first podium here in his Toyota, and a magnificent achievement and a particularly a dream for him. George will just about, in the dying stage of the race, fed off from Joshua's last minute push that can't really seem to get it out all the way, and maintains a 3-second gap through the final 2 corners now. He will go, and George gets into P4 for Ferrari, and down from behind Joshua Makahi in P6. Tiana Barrett hadn't really taken it away from his hands, and a costly mistake means that all the best that he could do will only end up being P6. It's a bit of a hammer blow, but at least for the teams, it's a bit of a benefit that Jay was here. And it's a chance for Tian to look forward through to the next race. For the man that has always been continuously on the edge of the podium, or on the podium, it could be an anomaly here for today, but it is a good sign for him as things to come. Joe McLaughlin will finish up for its 7th in Peugeot. And it is the last minute for a attempt from Barrett from his mistake. Really was the only thing that was eventful through on his. Was Will Mancy struggled a lot, but will manage at least to record another P8 through Aston Martin, another clean sweep of results for Will, and a very, very good position that he has been in through and thus far. Barrett will exit out through in 7th, Joe through out to the final corner, the checker 5 trust for him, over in 7th. Will LeMans going to wait for him to eventually drop over. And again, it's the long circuit that's going to just allow all these drivers through the wait. You can see over there, looking over to the left-hand screen, over into, the left-hand side of your screen. Everyone just bar Woodmansey is looking through to pit for today. A great race, I must say, and a very, very phenomenal one. And that will be through the results of here today. So, Danger Pit holds on through to a magnificent lead ahead of Phil Bailey in 2nd, with Cameron Fields 3rd, George Williams 4th, Joshua McCahey 5th, Tion Barrett 6th, Joe McLaughlin 7th, and Will LeMans will complete for the race through the final 6 quarters, about a lap down further with anyone else. Enya Milore in 9th as the DNF, followed by Navarro also as the DNF, and capping us through Mentoki Young. She'll also record us as the 3rd DNF. Of course, all of them have been recorded through the first half of the race, but until then, it was quite a spectacular feat, I must say. So it was indeed very, very interesting to have seen that at all. So congratulations though to Jay the Pit for his first race win of the season, Phil Bailey for continuing through his podium streak, and Cameron Fields also for recording his debut podium here at RPL Le Mans Ultimate. Thank you very much to everyone here that has been watching. Really has changed through the championship course thus far, as Phil looks on to continue through where Hughes has left off. And again, with that balance added, it's going to make it a little bit more difficult through. But indeed, it has been a very exciting race here for the 70 minutes of Le Mans. We're going to continue on through over to next week. October the 12th, we'll host over through into Lagos here as we travel through to South America for the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace week 7. And again, continue on through, moving up north through the Sebring, then back over to Asia for Fuji, and a conclusion over at Bahrain International Circuit. But until then, welcome to the second half of the Realistic Performance League here at the Le Mans Ultimate Series. Thank you very much for watching here for Season 1. We're going to continue on 4th, and the championship does not look any more tighter. We'll continue on 4th here, and into Lagos. Thank you all to the drivers that have been driving. Thank you all to you, the viewers that have been watching here. I've been Amir. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.